Get ready! GBN and the Ministry of Education presents Christmas Harmonies 1.0. The inaugural primary school choir singing competition. December 5th, 1 p.m. The Grenada Trade Center. 15 schools, magical voices, and fierce competition. Cheer for your favorites in categories like Overall Champion, Most Creative, Best Solo, and Best Group. Entrance, adults $10, children $5. Don't miss the holiday magic. Christmas Harmonies 1.0, where Grenada's brightest and youngest voices shine. Be there.
Soraya, I had a big news.
What news?
Girl, the news.
No, I don't hear no news.
Girl, our school participating in the GBN carol singing competition.
For real?
For real, for real.
Oh my gosh, I'm so excited.
Me too.
He gave me beauty for ashes, turned my life around. He broke my chains and now I dance on solid ground. For all he's done to save me, I will raise my voice. I've got Jesus, so I've got joy.
St. George's Seventh-day Adventist Primary School will be participating in the GBN Carol Singing Competition. Come on out and be a part as we support our boys and girls.
Grenada, get ready! GBN and the Ministry of Education presents Christmas Harmonies 1.0. The inaugural primary school choir singing competition. December 5th, 1 p.m. The Grenada Trade Center. 15 schools, magical voices, and fierce competition. Cheer for your favorites in categories like Overall Champion, Most Creative, Best Solo, and Best Group. Entrance, adults $10, children $5. Don't miss the holiday magic. Christmas Harmonies 1.0, where Grenada's brightest and youngest voices shine. Be there.
Let me take the time to say a special good morning to our listeners. Good morning to our viewers of listeners of Classic Radio, viewers of GBN TV. Good morning to you. Welcome. It's Tuesday, the 11th day of November 2025, within the year 2025. Good morning to those of you also via our social media platforms, the Facebook page, YouTube channels who are just checking in. Good morning to you. Thanks for being with us this morning and welcome. It's Opposition Tuesday today on the program, and representing the opposition, we have the caretaker for the Sister Isles of Carriacou and Petit Martinique, of course, Senator, Norland Cox with us this morning. Senator Cox, good morning and welcome. Nice to have you back on the program this morning. How are you doing this morning, sir?
Pleasant morning to you, GT, and pleasant morning to your viewers and listeners. It's always a pleasure to be on your program. Yeah, and I'm happy to be here this morning.
And it's always a pleasure to also have you on the program this morning, sir. Let's dive into the conversation this morning. There's multiple things that I would like to speak to you about this morning. One of my questions to get the conversation is sort of an icebreaker per se, and I'm asking you this question in terms of a bit of a clarification. No, I heard the honourable, of course, member for Carriacou and Petit Martinique, the MP for Carriacou and Petit Martinique in last sitting of Parliament did mention or speak about, there's approximately 3 houses, I'm assuming from the assessment done after Hurricane Beryl, there's about 3,000 plus houses that were damaged, and there's approximately 2,000 plus that was already repaired. Tell me, is this a realistic figure in terms of the numbers that the honourable, of course, MP, of course, made in Carriacou, from Carriacou and made in Parliament, and also he spoke about just a few more houses to be taken care of in Petit Martinique also. Tell me, is this a realistic figure from your point of view? So you being on the caretaker for Carriacou and Petit Martinique for the opposition, speak to me in relation to that, sir.
You see, that's a kind of tough one in the sense that I don't have any empirical data to refute what the claims that he made. However, if we could start with the question on Peter Martinique, From my recollection, there were just, I think, 5 houses that they were working on in Pidimatnik. I think I recall 3 being handed over. I'm not certain if all are completed, but I do know that Pidimatnik has received the worst in terms of the support, the recovery support. And there are numerous persons who doesn't have a home, who lost their home entirely. I know for a fact. I have family members who and other friends who are in that situation. And so for Pidimatnik, to say Pidimatnik is almost there, that is incorrect for sure, for certain. That is very much incorrect and very far from the truth. As regards to Carriacou, to say over 2,000 houses, I don't know. I don't have the empirical data, so it would be unfair for me to say. But to say that it's just a few more houses to be repaired, that is very, very far from the truth. There are a number of businesses still impacted, a number of houses that have not been repaired. Some persons, they were able, unfortunately, to have their roof replaced, but extensive work to the interior is still undone, and some of the persons are actually not living inside the houses. Even some of the same houses that the government or the ministry would have built and handed over to persons, they build back better houses. In the recent times, the majority of the houses are very much incomplete, and persons would have received like maybe a shell, for want of a better word. And persons, from what I know, the responsibility is on them for the to get the materials for the plumbing, the electrical. I think some support is provided with the labor. So a lot of persons are very grateful for the houses, but it is far from complete in terms of livable. They probably don't have stuff inside and things like that. So those are things that they are working on. So I think it is incorrect to say that everything is almost there. I mean, it's far from the truth. I mean, there are a number of houses with poolings in them, and a lot of work is still to be done. So, but in terms of the empirical data that he put out, I don't have anything to question or to match those.
Okay, understandably so. I still want to keep the conversation on infrastructure in the sister isle of Carriacou. With your background in infrastructure, sir, do you see as a key factor contributing? What are those key factors you see are contributing to the delays and challenges of national projects per se?
Well, if I could just quickly pull from my head, I think I'll start with probably the most important one. And usually I stand in Parliament, with all due respect to the Prime Minister. I did stand in Parliament on several occasions and indicate that and suggested that maybe the Ministry of Infrastructure is probably one of the ministries that he should not directly oversee as part of his portfolio and hand it over to another minister who is more grounded. As you know, the Prime Minister travels extensively, and so he's not there. It's a ministry that requires leadership. It requires being hands-on. You cannot be in charge of that ministry and be away from that ministry like that. It has so much moving parts, and so if you are not there to give the sign-off on certain critical things and not understand or to meet or to actually go out and see some of those things, you are not going to make informed decisions. There are going to be decisions made without your input that could create issues and problems. And projects are very dynamic, a lot of moving parts. So I think the whole issue of the leadership part of that ministry is one of the key factors that is affecting delivery and completion, a lot of the projects and the delays. And mind you, delays are common with projects. And delays can occur as a result of natural occurrences, maybe heavy rains or something like that, landslide. You could have delays. Delays can occur from material shortages. There are delays through other miscellaneous issues. It could be other problems, could be workers. Sometimes if somebody have an injury, or sometimes you're going to work site and then you meet certain things that are not there. So you have variations on your work, and that may require additional materials, additional cash flow. So separate and apart from that, there are some key things that I've observed that I think that is responsible for what is happening. And the first one is the whole issue of the leadership of the department, the ministry. The second thing is the procurement process. We realize that the government have stepped away to a significant standpoint from the standard procurement process. And there are a number of benefits for the procurement process. And because they have stepped away from that and just basically handing projects to somebody who might be a friend, a supporter, or whatever the case may be, without going through that procurement process, it led itself to a lot of issues. And hence the reason why the Minister for Finance came on your program, GT, and said that there are records that show that persons, I think the Minister for Housing as well, were given houses to build and they don't know what they're doing, the money done, and they're gone. So that is the challenge, is that when you hand out projects like that to persons who may not have all what it takes and the requirements to implement a project successfully, you could have non-completion of work and you could have significant delays. So that, I think, is one of the key things that I've observed. There is a way for engaging new persons, and there's always a going to help persons them develop, give persons new opportunities, exposure to new projects, bigger projects. But there's a process for doing that through the Ministry of Infrastructure. And we always welcome, give persons new opportunities. But it has to be done in a way that is managed to minimize the impact in terms of resources and also the integrity of the project, so that it's completed in a way that it lasts and it meets the requirement. So this way of handing out projects just because somebody just call them and give them, that also is one of the reasons why a lot of projects are not done properly. I think the last thing, the most important one, in recent time we have noticed that government projects have suffered significantly in terms of financing. A lot of construction workers, a lot of contractors are indicating that non-payment for services is something that is a current and is something that seems to be growing. And so a lot of projects are suffering delays and non-completion because they have not received payment for work done. So that is what we are picking up. Those are the three things that I've observed.
All right.
That stand out to me.
No, tell me. I mean, you spoke about some of the approach, of course, the changes you would like to see. But tell me, there's a particular approach, or what approach would you say, or you think the system should implement a whole lot to get that level of accountability? The efficiency of how things should run. The long-term maintenance of across infrastructure projects, etc. What approach would you like to see, sir, taken in the long run? We may have lost Senator Cox just a wee bit in terms of connection this morning. Senator Cox, are you there with me? I think we may have lost connection there just a wee bit, and when we do re-establish connection, we will certainly get back to Senator Cox. Let's take a short break, and on return, we certainly get back into the conversation with Senator Cox as we re-establish connection. Stay with us, folks, on the One Classic Radio GBN TV. We will be right back. Don't touch it down.
Ready, Grenada. The Grenadian General Insurance Half Marathon and 10K Road Race is on. Sunday, November 16th. The Half Marathon kicks off at Corinth Junction, St. David's, and the 10K from Wyman's House, Woodlands, with both culminating at the Kirani James Athletic Stadium. Monetary prizes await the top 10 finishers in the Half Marathon and the top 5 in the 10K, the oldest finisher, and even the school, club, or organization with the most participants. Transportation will be provided. The 10K race is open to all under 15 years. Join us as Grenadian General Insurance celebrates 35 years, protecting what matters and powering our champions.
Grenada, Carriacou, and Petit Martinique. This is exciting news for all car lovers and car owners. Get ready for Grenada Auto Fest 2026, a car show with a difference, from antique and classic to modern innovations. Saturday, March 14th at the Roy St. John playing field in Tantine. Car owners, this is your chance to show off. Get that machine ready. Get that ride in mint condition edition. It's full throttle face-off between old school rides, the hot rod, and the supercharged modern customized rides. This is a family affair. Bring the kids, bring the crew, bring the whole yard. It's the Grenada Auto Fest 2026 on Saturday, March 14. Get ready.
This Christmas, GBN is lighting up Grenada. From November the 10th to December the 24th, your festive season starts right here with GBN's Christmas Catalog 2025. Start your mornings with mid-morning magic. Weekdays 10 to 12, live fun, giveaways, and Christmas cheer every day. On Friday, December the 5th, the school's Christmas challenge lights up the Trade Center. 15 schools, 1 trophy, and the voices filled with holiday joy. Then on Saturday, December the 20th, it's Christmas in Kamahan. Live music, food, shopping, toy giveaway, and the grand tree lighting ceremony. And on Monday, December the 22nd, join GBN's Caroling in the City, spreading Christmas cheer all through St. George's. Every Sunday from 5 to 7, enjoy Utah Sundays with classic Christmas tunes and prices galore. And from December the 1st, K105's Lights of Christmas. Guess that hidden cash on the win. So whether you're singing, shopping, or celebrating, do it with GBN, connecting with you this Christmas. Our partners making it possible: Flow, Ace Hardware, Foodland Supermarket, Grenada Duty Free, Answer Coating, Banfields, and Koyawa Beach Resort. GBN's Christmas Catalog, connecting you this season. Welcome back once again to our listeners. Welcome back, viewers. It's To The Point here on Classic Radio GBN TV. It's Tuesday, the 11th day of November. It's Opposition Tuesday today on today's program, and we do have Senator Cox with us this morning, and we were able to re-establish connection. We did lost Senator Cox a while ago as we were into the conversation. Senator Cox, welcome back, sir.
Thank you, JD.
I was actually asked the question before we got disconnected a wee bit. I was asking in terms of what approach or systems would you like to see implemented? That's in ways of improving, I should say, the accountability, the efficiency, and the long-term maintenance across infrastructure projects. What is that approach you would like to see, or what systems would you like to see implemented that will make a big difference in how we see things are done, especially when it comes being your experience in infrastructure, sir, in the Department of Infrastructure or Ministry of Infrastructure, if I can put it that way.
Judy, what I can say is that I'll probably start by saying in summary, maybe a complete reversal of what is happening. And I think we could start with the procurement process. There's a reason why the procurement process was created, why it was implemented, because it works. It works to benefit the contractor, the service provider. It works to benefit government, and in turn, it works to benefit the people. Because, you see, it provides an opportunity for everything to be overlooked, for everything to be scrutinized with fairness, and that's what the procurement process does. And when you do that, and you're guided by contractual agreements, even though there are disputes, there are ways in which you could manage those disputes, and also there are ways in which you can alleviate challenges going forward in terms of projects. But in terms of infrastructure, I think there are clear opportunities for improving and strengthening on the side of technical side of the ministry. Maybe try to get more engineers involved, because as you have more projects, you need more engineers, competent persons to manage and supervise those projects to ensure to minimize issues, to manage resources to ensure that things work perfect. And of course, clearly, I've said it. There was an opportunity. I think there was an approach where they tried to morph the Ministry of Infrastructure with the Ministry of MIT, and it seems that approach has failed significantly, because we hear a number of issues, a number of fallouts with poor implementation, money issues, and all sorts of a lot of corrupt stuff and mismanagement. You see, and that is why it's important to have a proper structure to minimize those. It doesn't mean that persons wouldn't try to do things in a wrong way. It doesn't mean that persons wouldn't try to cut corners. But when you have systems in place, it minimizes those, and it put measures in place to capture them and to deal with it in a quick manner. So that is one of the biggest things that they need to do, because you find out a lot of issues, a lot of incomplete projects, significant incomplete projects. Also, in terms of the revenue, I don't know how government operates and what they do in terms of especially revenue that is earned through CBI. Historically, what we would have done as government when we were in government, those revenue were invested in on the capital side of the budget and not used for recurrent. So that is a critical thing, because what it does, it helps in terms of moving money through the system, in terms of creating income for government on the revenue side. Because if we notice, one of the things that the Ministry of Finance just put out, there's significant shortfall from July to January comparison to last year to this year. And the reason for that is because government revenue collection has been down. There's a direct correlation between economic activity, construction work, and of course, government revenues. So the Ministry of Finance and the government have some significant work to do to see how they can fill that financing gap. And some of the projects still are incompleted. So those are some critical things that I need to pay attention to.
You spoke a wee bit, and of course, about the procurement process. I mean, from your understanding, sir, the new procurement process, you stressed a wee bit that it's not working. From your understanding, why is it not working for government and even not working for individual who goes through that particular process? Per se.
Well, it's not that it's not working. They are not using it actually.
Yeah.
They are not using the procurement process. They have neglected it, and the procurement process have certain different layers. It's structured in a way to accommodate in the event of an emergency. There is the law allows for.
We would have lost, Senator Cox once again, and Senator, we lost you there a wee bit, Senator Cox. Are you back with us?
Yeah, I'm hearing you.
Yeah, go right ahead, please. We have lost you there for a little bit.
Yes. I was saying that the procurement process have different layers for different scenarios. So in the event where you have a particular skill where very few people have it, or very few institutions can provide it, there is a process for procuring those services. In cases where there are new persons, there are a layer for everybody. So the procurement process is not perfect, but it is one of the best tools that government should ensure that they employ to ensure that the implementation of projects. And so it's not been adhered to. It has been completely thrown out the door, and they're just making a phone call and hiring people like that. That's a recipe for disaster.
All right. I want to backtrack to Petit Martinique and the outer islands just a wee bit in this segment as we move on. How would you assess the current state of development in Petit Martinique and other outer islands? How would you assess that?
Well, I think Petit Martinique is our primary responsibility and priority. We have other Grenadines islands in close proximity to us who had suffered similar damages to us. I cannot say exactly. I haven't gone recently to those islands to see what the development is like, but I've seen pictures. I've heard reports from in case of Union Island, what is taking place there, as against what is taking place in Petit Martinique. While there are challenges on both islands, it is clear that Petit Martinique is far lagging behind in terms of recovery efforts, responses. They are still challenged with housing issues. That is a big issue, not only for Petit Martiniquans, but Caraquans as well. They are challenged with the whole issue of commuting between both islands. Still, the whole issue of the docking is still one that is challenging. It's not the best or most comfortable arrangement, but the people of Petit Martinique have been asked to continue to be resilient as they have been, and to cope. And so they are still waiting on some key deliveries from the government in terms of assistance for them, because of their location, there are some existent challenges. And of course, it's going to be difficult in some cases to get certain services to them. And so, what has happened or what has not happened is the planning to include Pinimanic in a way in which you can make their experience less harsh in terms of the recovery efforts. I know that they've talked about the issue of costs and getting stuff over it, but there are ways we can work around things. And they are, of course, citizens of this country, and they deserve all the support that they can get in the recovery process. Some of the, in excess of 50 fishermen or more, have not received, from Pinimanic, have not received the burial relief support to this day. Although they've been given several promises. It was supposed to give us the last budget cycle. Another budget cycle is imminent, and they have not received it as yet. They have challenges, other social challenges. They have challenges with not just that aspect, but you have the seafood export ban, which is going to impact Pinimacnicans more than anybody else, because that is their livelihood. That is what they do. Almost everybody in Pinimanic, they make their livelihood through the sea. And so that is something that is facing them. And it's so sad. I mean, not a single person or official came, actually went to Pinimanic to even have some discussion with persons out there on it. So we yet to see what will happen. We haven't heard any concrete information back from government as yet as to what they have been done, or what they have achieved thus far in terms of issue of the export, sea products export. All right.
So, Dr. Cox, I want to ask you, small islands like Petit Martinique and other islands, some of the outer islands, economic investment, infrastructure development is critical for these islands to move forward. What do you believe would make that difference for these particular communities, like Petit Martinique and the outer islands especially, but we focus a whole lot more on Petit Martinique? What is that infrastructure and economic investment do you think that is needed to move these islands forward at the state that they're at right now?
It's a very good question. And, one of the things that I believe, and that's where leadership is important in when you're making certain decisions or taking certain actions. Now, if you look at the construct how Petit Martiniquans make their living and such, investments, support, their primary focus should be around those things to help strengthen that. Now, you have a situation where they traverse by sea daily commute either for business.
All right, we have lost connection with Senator Cox there once again. Okay, we lost you. We lost you there just for a couple of seconds. Continue where you left off.
Yes, all right. So they commute by sea. Now, since the hurricane, they have been challenged with the whole issue of proper docking, a proper jetty, especially on the windward side, and that has not happened after even several promises, even after being learned that a contract was issued to a company to do so more than a year now, and no work has commenced on that. But I must also commend the Sanchez enterprise. They are actually building a new jetty and marina in Petit Martinique currently, and that will help strengthen the business side, the economic side opportunities for Petit Martinique. That would help with the artists coming for amenities, for water, fuel, things like that. So that in itself will help Petit Martinique. So I think that is the area that government needs to look to see what are the niches or what Petit Martinique needs in terms of creating economic activity. And there are a number of key small businesses in Ireland. There are rooms there. How do we drive?
Or we await
the small bars.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So, Cox, we sort of lost you there again. And in this segment, we drew for a break. Let's take it. Hope that the connection improves after the break. When we come back, we continue the conversation. Stay with us, folks, to the Point Classic Radio GBN TV. We will be right back after the short break.
time for play?
We have choir practice.
Choir practice for what?
GBN Singing Competition 2025.
We will showcase our talent.
Oh, okay. Can I come along?
Of course.
Come on, come on, come on, come on. Come on down to the competition. Come on down to the competition.
Happening down at the trade center.
It's happening down at the trade center.
Starting time is 1 p.m.
The starting time is 1 p.m.
It's being hosted by GBN.
And it's being hosted by GBN.
Come on down to the competition.
Come on down to the competition.
Mary's Junior bringing excellence.
The Mary Junior bringing excellence. Come on, come on, come on, come on, come on, ring those bells, light the Christmas tree. Jesus is the King, born for you and me. Come on, ring those bells, everybody sing. Jesus will remember it's your birthday. Come on, come on, come on, ring those bells.
Grenada, get ready! GBN and the Ministry of Education presents Christmas Harmonies 1.0. The inaugural primary school choir singing competition. December 5th, 1 p.m. The Grenada Trade Center. 15 schools, magical voices, and fierce competition. Cheer for your favorites in categories like Overall Champion, Most Creative, Best Solo, and Best Group. Entrance, adults $10, children $5. Don't miss the holiday magic. Christmas Harmonies 1.0, where Grenada's brightest and youngest voices shine. Be there.
Songs of Hope and Glory, a diocesan choir festival. Join us as we celebrate this Jubilee year with beautiful songs and uplifting performances on November 30th, 4 p.m. at the Grenada Trade Center. Tickets cost adults $20, children $10. Tickets are available at your local churches and on gotofect.com. Let's come together to celebrate with our choirs and rejoice in the spirit of hope and glory. November 30th, 4 p.m. at the Grenada Trade Center. See you there.
Welcome back, listeners. Welcome back, viewers. It's To The Point, Classic Radio and the GBN TV. Let's say welcome back also to Senator Cox with us this morning. Senator Cox, welcome back. Senator Cox, I want to talk to you a bit. You mentioned it briefly in a previous segment when we were speaking. I want to focus a wee bit about that overall impact. You know that of course, that seafood ban on the fishing industry and you know those coastal communities. What is that overall impact will it have, sir? If you want to expand on what you mentioned, you mentioned on it briefly previously, but I want to get your take on how do you view that overall impact will be in the terms of the seafood ban?
Yes, GT. I mean, that's a very serious issue in front of us. The ban, the impending ban, which will come into effect in January, it appears that will happen. It has two effects, one on the macro level and also on the micro level. On the macro level, in terms of the country, how it's going to impact the country, obviously it's going to put a serious dent in the export-import gap, because we do get significant revenues. I think in excess of $30 million annually we get from that export market. So that's a significant gap there. That void that is going to be created by the closure of that market on the macro level, and that will affect government revenue in some cases as well, because once you remember VAT is paid on those activities. So revenues are going to be lost in that regard. On the micro level, I think that is where the focus for us is much more concerning. The issue is that directly or fishermen are going to be impacted. Obviously, revenue source is going to be cut off, will be lost. They in turn now, hopefully with support of government and of course opposition as well, to see how we can look at alternative sources of revenue in the sector going forward. Persons who have mortgages on the boat, persons who have their own personal mortgages on their home, they are going to be challenged as well to meet those because revenue, it's a significant, you have a few hundred boats, when you multiply that by at least 3 to 4 persons per boat, and that gives you the impact, and then you put that each person in a household and the contribution that they are making in that household, it gives you the trickle-along effect as to the impact of this. But I know that government has indicated that they have announced that they are putting measures in place for us to get back into this. It's been a what we call a chronic issue, ones that we require some critical steps. It will require some diplomatic.
All right. Senator Cox, there we have lost connection once again.
Quickly, government can get this sorted.
Okay, we lost you there a bit, Senator Cox, but I want to ask you a follow-up question to this. From your perspective, sir, what lessons can Grenada, you say, learn from these issues? In terms of the way that we manage it and so forth. From say for both now and future, crisis of those issues. How can we go forward in that? From your perspective, how do we learn from that a whole lot? Or lessons can we ever learn issues of that in terms of the overall management of it, sir?
Well, I think a lot of it has to do with our relationships and how we manage our relationship with different countries. And also, I think we need to keep abreast with certain changing regulations, certain change in regulations in institutions that we work with, countries that we work with, to keep a tight regime on that. If you notice, like, for example, with the U.S. now, a lot of laws have been changing, immigration and other things. And so, you just need to stay abreast. You need to have competent persons in the respective areas to deal with those issues and to be vigilant, especially to sectors that is important to not just the country development, but also for citizens' benefits that are a source of income. So it's something that we have to be vigilant about going forward. Certain markets, certain things like that, we have to protect it as much as possible, especially where significant persons are benefiting from it.
We understand. So, we heading into the sports season now, sir. As you know, as the track and field season approaches, I would say, how would you describe the current readiness? Let's get into the Sister of Carriacou and Petit Martinique now in terms of the community playing fields and so forth as we're heading into the sports season.
Well, from my recollection, there is basically the mini stadium is the lone playing field that I think that is ready for any formal or organized sporting activity. I know that some work has been done in Dover. The kids and them, they use just a part of the playing field that was not impacted by debris. They are just using that a small portion. But even except for those two fields, all the other fields are not ready. The Hillsborough, the Haverville, they are not ready. They are far from being ready for any sporting activity or so. I do know that all the debris has been removed finally after constant calls, not just by me, but persons wanting to see some progress on that side. And so finally all the debris has been cleared from the fields, and I noticed that some restoration work has commenced, but those fields are far from being ready for that. However, I know that is a challenge. I still confident that our athletes are going to use whatever resources that we have, and they're going to do the best that they can.
Tell me, what do you think is necessary right now? What do you think or steps per se is necessary right now to ensure that athletes, especially the young, especially and young people, that those have those safe and reliable facility to train and to compete? What are those necessary steps that you should be taking right now, sir?
Well, to field restoration, I mean, equipments and those things are easy to get, but the playing fields, having those facilities up back is going to be, you take some time and it will take some revenue, and it requires, just assessing the issue, what are the issues, putting a clear plan in place, and proper management in terms of having somebody manage the resources and implement and have those facilities restored. One of the things that I've observed is that, I do question how the restoration work is going. There's some key things, technical things that should happen to ensure proper restoration. I've not seen that happening. And it goes back to the whole issue of procurement. Just doing some work willy-nilly or just showing some dust and spreading it in a field, that is not what is required. There are more technical input that is required, and I do know that the Ministry of Sports do have people to give that support, and there are also contractors in this country who have the expertise and experience in restoring playing fields. So I think the government needs to engage a proper person through a proper procurement process to have those fields restored and have them restored quickly. If you do that in a structured way, engage somebody who knows what they're about, and you have the funds, I think within a timely manner, it can be restored. And so, because it's a project, you set it up and you have a start date and a delivery date. And so you could clearly say, look, come next track season, the fields are going to be ready. We have this person working. This is what will be done this month. This is what will be done in the next 2 months. But just doing something just vike, it bears no real fruit at all.
All right. I want to get into this another segment of questions that I do have prepared here for you, sir. Now, if given the opportunity to serve once again as a parliamentary rep for the Sister Isle of Carriacou, you being the caretaker as it stands right now, what two key priorities would you focus on? Let's say within the first year, and why would you focus on those two priorities?
Well, Gigi, I smile because you said if given the opportunity again, I never had an opportunity.
Well, I mean, I know you never had it before, but it's kind of proper in place to say it that way. If the opportunity is thrown out to you to be I probably should say that. If the opportunity, to serve, I should say that way. If the opportunity to serve, what are those two priorities would you focus on a whole lot? Maybe within the first year, and why would you focus on those two priorities? Okay. Those two key priorities per se.
I think governance a lot centers around people and critical development needs. And of course, I would say probably the top priority would be education and skills development. And one of my main reasons, and I've always indicate that publicly and otherwise, privately, I have conversations about that, is that I believe that education is the universal key towards eradicating poverty. And also, what it does by creating opportunities through education and skills development, it helps to deal with the biggest challenge that we have in terms of unemployment, and especially youth unemployment, creating opportunities for a person to gain meaningful employment, or even to start their own business, or even to do things, even to develop. We have this issue of developing and investing in new things, new technologies, new approaches to solving problems. And that can only be done by exposing our young people through education and opportunities through education to develop themselves, and in turn will come and invest in Carriacou and move Carriacou forward. So that's one of the key areas. Another area that for me that has been kind of dear to my heart in recent time, and that has to be centered around special needs. It's a growing problem for a number of families in Carriacou, and I've seen it personally, see how challenging it can be for a mother who has a child with a special need and have to tend to the child without a requisite understanding of what is taking place, how to to care and to manage for that child in the best way possible. And sometimes those kids do have an opportunity where they can go through education system and develop and become and operate in a normal space as an ordinary child. But we don't have a facility for that. We don't have persons that I know of with the skill set to deal with that. And it also takes away that burden from the families who have to be with that child 24/7. Trust me, GT, I mean, none of us would want to go through some of the things that those parents are going through. I mean, I've seen it. I mean, sometimes they cannot get a break, not even to go and get a glass of water. I mean, they have to be there 24/7. I mean, and you know, you have to look after them. If you move your eyes off them, at one time there was this person, the child was just like around in the house, and they just turned it back. And before the child was in another community, I mean, the child ran so fast, just running. I mean, it was crazy. You actually had to get a vehicle to go pick up the child. I had to tell you how scary it can be at times. You know, so that is an area I really, really think that there is a great need for us to address for Carriacou right now. So those are just two issues. There are many other important ones, but I know in the interest of time, yeah, those two I can pluck out those two.
No, you know, in your view, sir, what does effective leadership looks like? Of course, in a time when many citizens are calling for, you know, stronger performances and accountability. Let me hear your views on that, sir.
Yeah, GT, you're really grilling me this morning.
Let's hear from you.
I would say, and I'll probably use some words to define that. I think in terms of leadership for a community, for a country, first of all, I think you must have clarity and direction in the sense that you must know what are the key issues that persons are facing, or the opportunities that are present. You identify them clearly. What are the priorities? And then you need to have proper management to manage those resources, to implement those resources so you can get results. I think leadership should have empathy. You must have empathy for your people. If you do not embody that characteristic, then you wouldn't have that connection with people. You wouldn't hear them. You wouldn't feel them. You wouldn't understand their concern. And so I think that is critical. For me, respect and humility is a big thing for me. I mean, you know, we grew up in a community where, especially our elders, you know, you have to respect is a given, and if persons don't embody that, I think it's a recipe for disaster. You know, it's a poor taste. It's a poor characteristic when you're lacking respect and humility. Humility allows you to deal with the issue of responsibility in the sense that, in the context that knowing that whatever responsibility is given by you to lead, it is not about you, but it's about the office that you hold. It's about the people that you have to serve. And only humility can make you understand that. And it's only being humble. It would allow you to be consumed by that responsibility, and that is what will humble you. And I think one of the most critical things is having some level of transparency. People want to know that you're speaking fair and honestly to them whenever particular issues, especially issues of national interest. People want to hear your views on it, where you stand, how that will impact them. So I think those things are critical. Not everything that government have to do, you come out and say to the public, but things of significant interest that impacts people emotionally and otherwise. I think it's fair and proper that the truth be told to persons in that regard. And the last thing is that I think people need to be held accountable, especially persons, managers, even ministers of government, should be held accountable so that you can get results. So I think, in a sense, those are some of the key things.
I still have one more question for you, sir. One more before we wrap this segment. My phones are going, so I know there are callers, listeners and viewers out there who may want to ask a question or two. Now,
sure,
what message would you share with Grenadians, Caracunians, Petit Martinicans, who wants to see more result-oriented?
I think I lost you. I lost you there for a bit.
You lost me. Okay, I was saying, what message would you share with Grenadians, Caracunians, Petit Martinicans, who wants to see more result-oriented, people-focused, and approach, and that particular approach to government? What kind of message would you like to share with us, Grenadians, Caracunians, Petit Martinicans, in that, under those information that I just shared with you? I shared with you a while ago.
Well, I think the previous answer that I gave for the question before.
It's kind of tilted a little bit different, I just want to hear that message that you would like to share to Grenadians, Caracunians, Petit Martinicans, in terms of to see more result-oriented, people-focused, and that particular approach to governance. What's that message? Would you like
as I said, I think I could just pull up probably three things. What people would want to see. I think people definitely would want fairness. They would want honesty and trust, somebody who they could trust in terms of leadership and governance. I think, as I did indicate, the issue of performance and being accountable. I think people value that. People value performance. People want to see results. Really and truly, leadership is not measured by a beautiful speech. It is measured by results, by solutions, and so it is much more than just grandstanding. People want to see results, and I think one of the key things that is important for all people. I think in terms of, as you say, result oriented, people want to see. They want to see you dealing with things, handling matters, that the country is moving. And of course, the whole issue of livelihood is critical. Persons must be able to live. Persons must be able to strive. Persons must be able to meet their daily needs. And whatever that is done, it must benefit people, because that is who we are doing it for. It is for them. And so whatever actions that you take as government in terms of leadership, it must benefit the people, and it must be felt. And so it should not be the reverse. At times, there are things that is beyond your control. Whatever action that you take, it must be one that impacts people in a beneficial way.
All right. We drew for that break, so Cox, when we come back, we get into the final segment of the show, which will involve questions or two from our listening and viewing audience. We'll be right back after the break. Stay with us, folks.
Because we have a lot of potential and a lot of good singing voices.
I think my school will win the competition because we have a lot of talent.
I think we can win this competition because we have a lot of great singers.
I think we can win this competition because we always try our best.
Grenada, get ready! GBN and the Ministry of Education presents Christmas Harmonies 1.0. The inaugural primary school choir singing competition, December 5th, 1 p.m. The Grenada Trade Center. 15 schools, magical voices, and fierce competition. Cheer for your favorites in categories like overall champion, most creative, best solo, and best group. Entrance adults $10, children $5. Don't miss the holiday magic. Christmas Harmonies 1.0, where Grenada's brightest and youngest voices shine. Be there.
Get Get ready, Grenada. The Grenadian General Insurance Half Marathon and 10K Road Race is on. Sunday, November 16th. The Half Marathon kicks off at Corinth Junction, St. David's. And the 10K from Wyman's House, Woodlands. With both culminating at the Kirani James Athletic Stadium. Monetary prizes await. The top 10 finishers in the Half Marathon and the top 5 in the 10K. The oldest finisher and even the school, club, or organization with the most participants. Transportation will be provided. The 10K race is open to all under 15 years. Join us as Grenadian General Insurance celebrates 35 years, protecting what matters and powering our champions.
Welcome back, listeners. Welcome back, viewers. Welcome back, Senator Clark. So we get into this segment where, of course, our listeners will have the opportunity to ask a question to you, Senator Cox. I will ask our listeners and viewers, because of time constraints, I will ask you to be very, very brief with your question, if it's just one, and move on so we can accommodate as many callers as possible, because it's just a brief time we have to entertain the calls. We go to the phone line and entertain our first caller. Caller, you're live. Good morning. Welcome.
Good morning, JT, and good morning, Senator Cox.
Good morning, sir.
Pleasant morning.
For the people of Carrickon, Peter Matting, according to your own admission, that the playing fields are now cleared and work is happening in terms of getting them ready for sports, and housing is coming back. Very, very good news. That's not political. Very, very, very good news. It's probably got off slow start, but it's happening now. Two things I want to raise you very quickly, though. You mentioned about the economy from the news this morning, and it says it's significantly down. 3%, I don't know if you could call it 3% significantly down. It was supposed to be 100 and it's 97. But in the same newscast, they said from January to July, it's 20 million ahead of schedule. Did you hear that part of it? So if it's when it's 3% down, it's significant. But if it's 20 million ahead of what is scheduled, isn't that very significant? The last thing I want to say is about, I heard something on somebody in a social media site on a group chat, a statement made by the chairman of the party. I couldn't listen to all of it because it was so sickening to me, where he was denigrating the leader about people not attending parliament and saying it needs to be their money, not his. And that boy, that little boy, is rude. To me, for somebody who's been a prime minister for 5 terms, to try to get people to disrespect that office, it is so sickening. You try to disrespect an office like this, but you know what was more disrespectful? And really worrying to me was the fact that people didn't realize he was disrespecting them by telling them something so dotish, and a lot of them are cheering. Why are we going with this kind of behavior? You're telling people to disrespect the Prime Minister, call him a little boy, and people are cheering. Is this good for the NNP? Is it good for Grenada? Could you please tell me? Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. You want to respond to the caller, of course, Senator Cox?
Yeah, just quickly, I think the issue of the Ministry of Finance. I mean, I was speaking about actual in terms of the revenues, and revenues have been down. What he's speaking about is probably projections. I'm not certain, So there is a difference. There's nothing wrong with projections that being out there. And that is fine, but it all boils down to actual. Because remember, budget is an estimate of where you want to go, what you want to achieve financially for the year. So I think I was just mainly pointing out to revenues, and that is what will guide government's ability to respond and to invest back in the economy is through revenues. Yeah. Okay. So just wanted to point to that.
Okay, we have another caller via WhatsApp. Good morning, you're welcome, and be brief, please.
Mr. Cox, good morning. Mr. Cox, the last time you was on the show and also on your platform, you mentioned there was a woman, a young lady, she was given material, all right? And then it happened that they found that she's NNP and they come back at the truck and took back the material. Mr. Cox, that clip was played on Vibes FM on Thursday, And then I did some investigation, and what you said, it was a lie. So today I want you to tell us who is the person, which part in Carrico, so we could try to see if we could help that person, especially we from the diaspora. And the second question, Mr. Cox, the problem with the fisheries is that I also bring that question to the Minister of Carrico, and he said that the problem wasn't started today. The problem was from 2016, 2018, and because of the response that was given by the last administration, which is the NMP was in office, that created a whole ban, and they're working on it. And I think this Thursday they're going to be on Vibes FM with the guys they're working on from the different ministries. So, Mr. Cox, I want to know what would be your response on that, and how would you fit in to help to see that problem curve for the fishermen of Pittimatnik.
Thank you, caller. Thank you very much. Response to the
thank you, caller. The first question. What I did said regarding that person, that is a fact. That is a known fact throughout the community where the person resides. And it's a known fact throughout Carrico. It's a fact. And if anybody else say otherwise, they are the ones that are lying. I mean, I can attest to that. And so I don't make no bones about these things. I don't come out and speak of those things like that. You understand me? So I just want to say that to that person. I don't traffic in those kind of stuff. You understand? It's heart-wrenching. Far enough not to talk about it. You know, whatever transpired was.
All right, Senator Cox, you there? Mm-hmm.
Yeah, on the second part had to do with the
issue relating to the ban.
Yes. Now, let me explain to you, right? What happens when you sign on to certain conventions? There is a reporting process, a reporting requirement, and that is done either yearly or every 2 years. You have to submit a report. And so what has happened, I think, between 2016 to now, there have been changes made on the U.S. side in terms of the legislation. And there are certain organizations and conventions that we have to get up to speed to sign in. And so those changes have not happened fast enough. An extension was given as a result of COVID. An extension was given to Grenada up to 2022. Yeah? And in 2022, we had a change in government.
Okay. We
transferred to this current government. Yeah? So we have not said that it wasn't an ongoing issue. But what would have happened is that a report would have been sent by this government, and because of that report, and that is not my saying, that is from the ministry itself. I mean, I don't want to say who conveyed that information, but concrete information that a report was sent by this government in terms of the fisheries and where we are and whatsoever, based on what is required. And after the report was sent, then information came back about us being on that list for the ban. So it is not an issue. It is not a matter of blaming. And if you notice, we have not spoken about blaming anybody. What we have spoken about and what we continue and consistently continue to speak about is finding ways to resolve it as quickly as possible. Yeah, because there are always going to be changes. There are always going to be upgrades to those agreements and engagements. All right, GD?
Okay. We have a final caller this morning. We'll take a final one and then we take a wrap for today's edition of To The Point. Caller via WhatsApp. Good morning. You're welcome. Let's hear from you, and I beg of you to be brief, please.
Good morning. You're right. Yes, I will be brief. Good morning. Just a couple second statement in terms of the disrespect where they say Dr. Mitchell disrespecting Prime Minister and his office, but then the Prime Minister and in his office, number one, he disrespect the whole nation where he makes over 300 people cost on a cruise ship. The Prime Minister disrespect the opposition leader where he turned and he tell her she and her 3 chickens walking out. No, which one disrespect and why he didn't speak on that issue as well? Disrespect across the board, it is wrong for me. But when you're talking about
All right, caller. I think we lost the caller there also. Caller, thank you very much, but we lost connection with the caller. Senator Cox, are you there?
Yes, I'm here. GT, right. I didn't, in fairness to both callers, I didn't heard any of the statements made by either party or whatsoever. So I haven't.
All right, we lost you also there, sir. So I hope when you do return, we could probably get some. I hope you could get some closing comments from you, sir, because we did lost you there for a wee bit. Connection has seemed to be of a challenge this morning. Let's get a closing contribution from you as we wrap for today.
Well, quickly, GD, I just want to say I'm happy to always be on, and I'm also happy to be in a space where I can continue to serve and contribute to the development of Carrick in particular, and of course the country as a whole. I've been doing that for a number of years and still excited and committed to do so. So I'm looking forward to be given an opportunity whenever the time comes to do so in a more formal way. Additionally, GT, I want to extend season greetings to you and, of course, the GBN family and, of course, all the listeners, viewers. This Yuletide season, for some persons, it's a happy one, but also I know of some friends who have lost loved ones in recent time, and so I extend my deepest condolences to them as well. And so this season may not be as joyous for them as others. So we just have to continue to support each other during this period. And for Carrick Martinique, it's a new normal for us that we are going through. And we just have to continue to support and strengthen each other as we move forward. GT, it's a pleasure. Thank you, Buffy. I look forward to you. Let me thank all the callers for calling and for making a contribution, taking the time off. I really appreciate that as well. GT, thank you.
Senator Cox, thank you also. It's always a pleasure to, of course, have you on the program. Best wishes, best wishes goes out to you and all the other, of course, citizens of Carriacou and Petit Martinique. Best wishes goes out to you once again for the rest of the day. All the best, sir.
Bye-bye. Take care.
All right. Hey, folks, that's where we're going to take a wrap for today's edition of To The Point. Thank all who contributed towards today's program by simply listening to the program, sitting at home and you viewed the program. Thank you so much. Join me again for another edition. That's where we say goodbye for today.